Hey kittens, it's Megan, and today I'm doing a book review of The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. This is probably the first book on my channel that is not a YA book specifically that I'm doing a review on. I have mentioned other non-YA books before, but this is one that kind of just stuck with me. The Echo Wife is about Evelyn Caldwell, a celebrated geneticist in the field of cloning, and her husband has just left her for another woman. What's worse, he stole her research to do it. Martine is a genetic duplicate of Evelyn, and she has been altered to be everything that Evelyn is not. Her very existence is a threat to everything Evelyn has ever worked for. One day, Martine calls Evelyn frantic to come and help her. She's just killed Nathan in self-defense, and she needs Evelyn's help to cover it up. Having no choice because if anybody finds out about this, everything in her life will be over, Evelyn decides to help her dispose of the body. The only problem now is people in Nathan's life are starting to ask questions. It's a good thing Evelyn has access to a private lab, isn't it? Evelyn is a self-centered workaholic who believes everything in the world should revolve around her work. So much to the point where she neglects all of her relationships around her, and especially her husband. Nathan is a narcissist who is not a dominant personality compared to Evelyn, so he doesn't have the ability to control her. So he decides he's going to make a new Evelyn and make her less intense, less focused on her work, only focused on him. Both Nathan and Evelyn are toxic people, and it's kind of fun to watch them spin out as the novel goes on. Martine was the true victim of the story, though. She has been programmed to be a slave to Nathan's whims, and when she starts to ask questions and asks Nathan if what she wants matters at all, he snaps and tries to kill her. So of course she defends herself. She's not gonna just take it lying down, and ends up killing Nathan. She spends most of the rest of the book fighting to find an identity outside of what she was programmed for and outside of her original Evelyn. To Evelyn, the fact that Martine could buck off her programming was alarming, and it made her realize that her system isn't perfect. She has to change things in order to continue her work. She did show a lot of growth throughout the story, and working side by side with her clone, with Martine, who's becoming her own person, was something of an eye-opener for Evelyn, because prior to this, she has only ever seen the clones as tools, as specimens that were easily disposed of when they didn't work out the way that they were supposed to. She never really stopped to consider that they might actually be real people. And so when she starts to get closer to Martine, she is forced to acknowledge that. The one thing that really didn't change throughout the entire story is Evelyn is still very self-centered and still very focused on her work, but it opened her eyes and broadened her horizons when it came to the work. The story itself was not overly complex, but it was twisted, and it really took a deeper look into human nature as a whole. This book does deal with a lot of dark subjects, things like grooming and spousal abuse, infidelity, as well as ethics. It all brings it all together, and while not preachy in any way, shape, or form, the book isn't trying to preach. It's telling you this story with all of these themes. It really pulled my brain into the story and made me think about the reality of what would happen if cloning humans was actually a thing we did on a regular basis. One of the things that really made me think about, outside of just, the science of it, which I can't even begin to comprehend, would be, the religious aspect. And I'm not going to really dive into that. I'm just going to say, when you're thinking about when people get souls, would a clone get a soul? If the answer to you is no, science intervened, they don't get a soul, what about babies who are created using IVF? They're not, conceived inside the body. Do they get a soul? It kind of forces you to ask these questions when you're done reading it. And I'm solid in my beliefs, but it still made me kind of debate these things. And I actually, on last Wednesday, we have our family dinner with my godkids and me, and we had actually a very lively debate about this. It was such an eye-opener to see how other people's brain works, and this book really just made me think about it. I like reading books that kind of challenge me to think outside of the box, especially when it comes to the adult fiction, especially in the science fiction area, and this is where I'm at. Thinking about cloning when I have no desire in this to participate in the field of science. I feel like this book deserved 3.5 stars out of 5 with my new rating system, and it was well deserved. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. And if you can, try and pick it up at your local library. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you are interested in this book, let me know if it gets added to your TBR. Ask me any questions about it. I would be happy to answer them, and just comment down below. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to follow my videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I do post weekly, and I hope I will see you all in my next video. Bye!